let me tell you one thing. For the first time, because you came to my village, and this is spiritual, I've done DNAs to some of my children. For the first time, I'll say some of them are not mine, but I look.
Serious?
It's the most emotional part I have to tell you. And you are the first journalist I'm telling this to. I have tears, but I love the kids. I look after them because they're innocent. It is a hard one for me.
Do they know?
Yeah. No, they don't know, and they must not know. Ndinoza ndakati my way pandakaona picture ya TAGWIREI achindihaga sasekuru wake kudai ndikati my way inini angu vanhu vakabhoikana vakati chakudya mari chapiwa mari.
Zigu akaifana kuwapo ya Zigu narwadzo Zigu ine I'm a fan yake I'll tell you the truth.
Zigu akaipa mdara munhu yaya ndi people's journey. Ona inini pamajournalist atina muzimbabwe ndomota number 1.
Yeah? Serious?
Pamajournalist isanoziva zvaanoita noziva basa yacho. Is number 1. Kwandiri ndomota number 1.
Zigu is a journalist.
I'm a fan yake I'll tell you the truth.
Zigu akaipa mdara.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you are watching this video, I'm sure you are seeing a drone shot of Pamba pakanyorwanzi Shumba, and you are all wondering kuti Shumba yacho ndeipi. Tina Shumba murambwi panapa. The interview that you all have been waiting for, and now we got it. We have Honorable Temba Mliswa. Ndianari kuwelcome mumwe isusu ere kana kuti nini?
Aiwa, kana masvika pamba honorable ndezvekuharare papa ndaasabhuku. Saka a point of correction, yes. Sabhuku Temba Peter Mliswa. Peter is important nekuti Peter muBhaibheri was the brains behind all the disciples. Temba comes because I was the first boy. The firstborn is a girl, and then the secondborn was a boy who became the first boy. So Temba means trust, Vimbai. So Peter was the rock. So it's trust, rock. Saka panapa ukasati sabhuku unogona kutongosvikirwa ipapo ndoshaya zvekuita. By the way, mutupo wako chii?
Mutupo wangu iShumba. Samaita.
Aiwa maita Shumba aiwa saka panapa ausvikirwa wako aiwa that's yes. Okay. I welcome you to the Mliswa village, which is in Shurigu South constituency, in Ward 5, and the chief is Chief Banga, and the headman is Pisira, and I'm the village head of this. This village headship has existed since 1939, when my grandfather was one of the few traditional leaders at the time. He was said to be a traditional leader par excellence because he was the most eloquent in terms of English and all that. They nicknamed him Sixpence. Why? Because he would stand outside the gate and shout, "Sixpence!" Yes. Sixpence, because ndiwangori mutero wekubhadhara kucouncil 6 pence. So he was known as Sixpence because he wanted people to comply with paying their rates.
When you said you are no longer an honorable, Masabuga is honorable.
And I'm not accused for Sabugo deals. Amusima kumaya zotsvaga Sabugo deal.
Mwanpo kakagana katunduru.
Iyezve ndichiri right, fertilizer ndichiri nayo nembewu ende mvura iri kunaya saka aiwa hatisi kusvika ikoko aiwa ndichakohwa.
But take us through your experience now, because you have been an MP and now you are a Sabuk. Some people would see that as a demotion, but you look so excited, you look so happy. You are the only Sabuk. And on a billboard, my direction. Is this a new experience, really exciting to you? With my challenges, it's a walk in the park.
You've said something important that I would like Zimbabweans to know, that leadership is inborn. Yeah, leadership is inborn. You don't go for lessons. Wherever I am, I make an impact. I've always said, even if I was made a sweeper today, I'll be the best sweeper. That's making an impact. Even if I had to work in the toilet, I would be the best toilet worker and so forth. What's critical in life is to make an impact in people's lives, bringing change. When I was a legislature, I believe I was the best. I did my best. Of course, the people like Tendai, BT, Settlement, Chikwinya, who were there. But when I represented people, it was the fact that I said to myself, what am I doing to drive the national agenda, national interest? Aiwa at village level, aiwa, mnogona utarata aiwa, demotion, ekuti auziye basa, nesimba ra sabhuku. Chekutanga, apana anogara muraini muno ndisina kuudzwa. So when you visit my village, you must be able to announce yourself, and the person that you're visiting, the host, must be able to tell me, tu apana mwana noberekwa. I can issue a birth certificate in terms of the act which is there. At the same time, chero mombe chayo aiberekwe. Aiwa, chero kada kuigwa mu village muno munotovunza nini kuti ndinoita say village heads are part of the development program of the country through the traditional act, which is there 27.2 if I'm not mistaken, in terms of the traditional act which is there. So it's governed by an act which is the members of parliament. The only thing that they do is to represent people. The OP member of parliament rikumaru wako asina kukumbira sabhuku kuti amuunganidzire vanhu. It shows the importance of the village head. It's a very important position. Even the chief, I never want to be the chief because the chief has got to come through me to meet my people in my village. The chief amugona kuuya nekuti vanhu avapo havauye. And so for one to say that it's a demotion, this is a position where you're not elected. Okay, it's hereditary, and through my grandfather, I became the first Mliswa after that. Before that, my fathers were not interested in this position. They always gave it to our nephews. The critical issue is development, changing how people's lives should go. I believe that development is like a river flowing in a certain direction. But that direction, you can see that the water is clear. Okay, and you go to the next stage, it remains clear. So what you want is a clear path of whatever you're doing. And I am more than happy to say that I want no other position other than that. Not only that, I'm also the president of the Zimbabwe Village Heads Association. If you're talking about that, you're talking about over 40, 50 people, unofficial numbers which are there. Ukaona chitupa chako, uchita ndina chitupa changu panapa, ukaona kuchera nyumba chi, uchina kunze MP ndiani, councillor ndiani, kana president ndiani, chief, and village. And village, you see the Mliswa village. So what else do you want?
And now, out of interest, you talked about your grandfather, which means you have got roots here. But rumor is out of public interest, your passports, whether it's the current or expired, yakanyorwa Zambian nationalities. But Sabugu, Zambia, maybe would you take us through with Matizing Zambia?
It's a very good one. First of all, my grandmother always said to me, the difference in life is that our hair is black, but what's underneath the hair is what makes the difference. The brain. Saka anika dictate brain yemunhu yeudofo nekugona. Zvinenge zvakuendera nebrain yake ndosanda tibvudzi riri black handizvere ukavisa, but zviri mukati hauzvione. So it's not my job to do that. I was born in Zambia. All of us, the 6 kids, were born in Zambia because our parents went there for the liberation struggle. My father came here, Gamwa. In fact, I was supposed to take you kwa Tongogara, which is just around the corner.
Tongogara,
the late general. This is his route to his thing. I was going to take you there so that you see where he's buried. So this is a home of leaders. This is Ian Smith was Shurugwi. Segafwe Todd was Shurugwi. Mnangagwa is Shurugwi. There's no great leader. Tongogara, the general, the man who liberated the country, was from Shurugwi. Temba Mliswa He's from Shurugwi. That's the greatness of Shurugwi.
Does it have something to do with nepotism or those things of that sort, or inguri excellence kuShurugwi?
No, but how does nepotism come in pane murungu nai?
Varungu vanotonyora kuti nini I'm from Manicaland, I'm from Blawayo, but kana takuma blacks.
Ian Smith was a Shurugwi boy. Sir Garfield Todd was a Shurugwi boy. I can go on and talking about the great people who came from Shurugwi and so forth. This place has made leaders, not only at this level, at national level, and international level, and so forth. So to me, we are proud to be coming from this area called Shurugwi. It has a lot of young boys who have excelled, the likes of Teliso. You know, Parai, if you look at him, a young boy from Shurugwi. And North was the University of Zimbabwe, was the COSU president, now did his PhD in Europe. He's back here. There are so many other people. Selby Wacha, the lawyer. Chinogwenyas, they come from here. The Meribidis, they come from here. Gulandewele is also from this area and so forth. Wanamawere, the lawyers, they're from here. The list goes on and on and on of the successful people of this area. So to me, I think what is important is merit. You see, you have, it's not, I see Moswa, kupa, mwana wa kubasa, kana ari qualified to do it. They're Zimbabwean, why can't you give them a job which suits their position and their qualifications, as long as they've gone through the procedural exercise and so forth. There's nothing that stops the president from appointing his children to be chief of staff, this and that, as long as they're competent and he is comfortable with them. Then we move on with life, because the constitution of Zimbabwe is very clear. What I and Dr. Pajikerere, vanhu vari mutaundi vakapusa, vanhu vari maruzevha vakangwara, ndo vanotedzera mutemo, ndo vanobhadhira marate, ndo vanovaka dzimba dzakanaka pane nzvimbo dzavanoziva kuti haambofakadza bviswa. Do you know the title deed of a person in the village? Do you know what it is? I teach you today.
Yes, you can teach me.
Igua. Rematate Igua.
Ana baba wangu nana sekuru wangu nemasekuru wangu akavigwa pachuru apo.
Zvapera. Hapana noenda ipapo nekuti ukaenda ipapo unobva ipapo uchimhanya haurare. So to me, that's why in building this, I have no title deed. But I know that my grandfather is buried there. And no one will come here. And people here have respect for that. Vane hunu. Ndosandati vanhu vemutaundi vakapusa. Vanhu vekumaruzevha vane hunu. Munogona kuti vakapusa nekuti vane mutaundi vekumaruzevha vakapusa iwa. Vakapusa vanhu vasina direction, vasina hunu, who don't have identity. And they think kuti vana kuenda zvikoro zvevarungu kugara mutaundi ndiko kunge unzori success. They do it for status issues. Status issues, ndine mari ndaendesa mwana wangu and so forth, but mwana wakari kuita madrugs. Ungocha ni mwana wakari kuinda. Mune zvikoro izvo zvamunoti zvinokosha. Saka inini, I don't come from that background. My father always said to me, if you happen to make money, go and build pamusha pasekuru wako.
You are talking about the direction makapiwa from your father, which means this was a father-son relationship. And maybe coincidentally, tichisvika panapa, you actually put us into the hands of your son. And I have to commend you, munenge makanyatsorera mwana zviri nani, zvakanaka zvekuti he looked in charge. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to let you watch the video interview that we had with your son. Hatingazobva panapa tisina tambotaura one of the Mliswa's descent. And we have got none other than the firstborn, as he says.
Sweden.
Better. What's your name?
I'm Tanaza Daniel, commonly known as TD.
TD?
Yes.
Yes, so you look so young, but you call yourself the firstborn.
Not firstborn, first boy.
First boy?
Yes.
Not firstborn?
Not firstborn. There are 3 more girls in front of me. So I'm the 4th son. I'm the 4th born and I'm the first son.
All right. Can you just briefly tell people about yourself?
So me, a Form 4 student who's waiting for his results. I was learning at Kutama. very passionate about football as well as farming. I would like to inherit my father's wealth, and by wealth I mean by farming and other things, so that I continue the legacy growing. I've got a bit of about 20 more siblings behind me, and yeah, that's all I can say.
You are talking about farming. Unoita murimi.
Murimi.
Murimi wa nhasi here kana kuti?
Wanhasi che. Wanhasi.
Nice, but uri kuchikoro ka form 4 career path yako wakutoziva kuti chaenda nekupi?
I can say ndakuziya for now.
What do you want to do?
So basically, because I'm not going upper 6 or lower 6, I'm planning on taking my step to Black 4B, School of Agriculture, where I'll learn the basic things and the things I need to know about how I will do the agriculture thing and the farming all together. Yes.
And it's very rare, I think you can attest to that, kuti kana muri ku high school, for someone to choose a career path in agriculture, because anofunga kuti agriculture angori majombo nekusakura. Where did you get that inspiration?
I got it from my father himself, who is very a good farmer, Pachake. He's a businessman, but farming is his thing.
It's his thing.
Yes, it is.
And how is it growing up in a very big family like yours?
No, of course it's hard, but you get used to it as time goes on. Having to manage all your siblings, it's quite a what can I say? It's quite a hard thing to do.
Would you call yourself a deputy parent?
I wouldn't call myself a deputy parent, because me, what I do is to make sure everything is in place. I wouldn't say I'm a deputy parent, but I'm just acting the role of a big brother.
Yes.
To my siblings.
Besides being a prominent political figure, holding a public office, being a farmer, and a whole lot of other things that your father is. Tokona kuti mutaro wako akangwara. Iwo akangwara ere.
I think so. Yes.
Mapenzi akawanda akangwara.
Yeah, togona ngodaro and ndiziya hangu zvanofunga pamusoro pangu, but yes.
You're right. And then unemsikanzwa.
Ndamsikanzwa.
Your last words, something that you'd want people to know, or what you'd want to say or encourage people who are of the same age as you have?
Having to do something isn't to speak, it's to show by acting up. You cannot say I want to be a farmer with you not being on the ground to see what things are happening. If you have a farm, or even in the garden, you start small, you get what I mean. You start small and then you grow. You start small in the garden, you go to the farm, and things like that. It goes on. That's what I can tell. Don't just say I want to be a farmer when you're sitting. Act up. Do what you can. The small piece of land that you have, use it wisely, and from there you do what you want.
Kumunda kwa baba wako uruite wewe.
Nini kumunda kwa baba wangu? Me, I usually go there to supervise and see what is happening. Like recently I was kukaroi kufarm. Wangu wachita soga mikoko. And the process I was there, I could nanchona zanchitika. And yeah, I was supervising. Yes.
Supervising.
Yes.
Do you enjoy being in the countryside?
Oh yes, I do enjoy being in the countryside. Very much I do.
Given an option, yekuti and it's no Temba bora kurufaro or national or and it's no rima kumunda, what would you choose?
Personally, I would choose playing soccer, but being at the farm. I'll choose both, because whilst I'm not at the farm, I might be playing soccer, generating income myself, which that income I'll use to get the farm product and then start from there.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is TD, the firstborn boy. Kuna mwasikana wariko, of course, amnemchita kambona wasikana kanaka. And this is the firstborn boy. Zvekuti mumurima undo wanenge ma crown prince ndosaka munzwa watra nyadze inheritance and also deputy parent. And if you didn't know, patasvika panapa tangosvika nosiwa mumaoko make tikanzi anything that you need, and he has been so helpful. So I think you'll be a very good steward of whatever his father would have left him and what he's going to build for himself. Last question, yananzwa nchingoda leta my girlfriend.
And the details my girlfriend Zendasika.
When do you expect to start doing that, or you are waiting to be told?
Yeah, soon. Yeah, soon.
Tell us a little bit about parenting methods enyu munoshandisa sei kuti vafanirwa vatori namudhara ane mari vanenge vachinakidzwawo nekufudza mbudzi. How do you do it?
Aiwa, reality is important. Chaunacho batisisa mumaoko. Mbudzi dziri pababa nehuku batisisa mumaoko, because what you want is the children to have a good foundation, and the best foundation yavanopa mwana education. And for me, I'm very clear about that. I can afford my kids to go to any school. The 20 plus, if you want to call it. Not only that, I run a foundation called the Temba Mliswa Foundation. I would have wanted you to go to Jongwe, where I sponsor. I've put together a 5K VA EMA gate. I've put together a Starlink. I've also gone to Jongwe. In fact, it'd be good for you to go and see these things, what I'm doing for the people here. The number of kids that I'm taking who are going to schools like Msengezi, Moleli, and I'm paying the school fees and so forth, because I believe that's how you empower a place through education and all that. So to me, it's just a status issue, and the identity is lost. Inini vana vangu ndinosanga navo panapa every year vanotochemerana mai vavo kuti toda kuenda kumusha kwa baba vedu. The girls, for example, and I'm sorry for my boys to listen to this, they know about it anyway. We had a vote one day, and they said, and I said to them, where do you want me to be buried? They said, Dad, you must be buried in Kumusha next to your grandfather. I said, what? And I said, let's have a vote. They were outnumbered. And I said, but and I said, but you're gonna be married. And if you're married, how then are you going to to allow your husband to allow you to be buried next to your father? She was dead. There's what you call a prenup. But what's a prenup? It says these are things that you sign before you get married. So part of the prenup will be that I'll be buried next to you. Hey, vanamasivanda. Avaite. Chero kamuzana chera chacho vanokudza kuti chero vana mhofu vana namasivanda vanodzikamiswa kasi vana shumba ndisinodzikamiswa vana chera
tiri kuvadzikamisa chaizvo
nemabasa edu akanaka.
mabasa makuru tiri pamabasa makuru ipapa handiti you are an epitome of a real African man chaiye, because vaako mazuva ano vanotya kuita vana vakawanda vachigaya nyaya dzeschool fees.
But why do you say African? Why don't you say Christian? What does the Bible say? You must multiply.
Chikristu chaicho chiri muAfrica.
Chikristu aiwa, ngatitange ipapo. You must multiply. Why today are you deciding to say traditional? Indinofamba neshoko ra Mwari kuti you must multiply. Nani ndezvimwe izvi.
But ndo pakakosha ipapo.
Aiwa unoziya chi? Ndiri kumultiply here.
Muri multiply.
Saka chaenda kudenga iwe neni ndiani?
Anenge multiply anenge wakati wandei kudarika vevamwe. But treat me as your son now, your firstborn son.
Yeah.
Would you, because as your son, I'm looking at you, the great things that you have done.
So you, okay, let me preempt you. So you want to say, you must be married, you must have a ring, you must have a wedding, and all that. Who says that we can't make choices in life? Who says that you must be married for your kids to be happy? There's what you call co-parenting.
But do you want...
Co-parenting where you're not married, but you're co-parenting. Are you with me? How many marriages are successful there? Ndichikutarisa hii mimi. Mumba imo muna na baba na nawe. Makagaramushe. Vari kuzinyepera. Ndio saka uchizoona kuti vana vanokura vane attitude against the mother, against the father. Nezva vanenge vachinzwa zvichitaura mumba. Manje ndiri ndega nini? Ndiri baba na mai ndiri ndega. Chicha vanonzwa. Manake aiwa.
Ndini mwana wenyu mukomana wekutanga. Would you give me that advice?
Ndati. Indinokupa advice kuti make your choice in life. And the most important thing about life is your peace of mind.
But it's easier said when you're giving advice to a boy child. Now let's look at a girl child. Would you give her that same advice? Would you just go and co-parent with whoever you want?
What I've said to my children, don't do as I do. Do as I say. I sit down with them and I tell them what I expect from them. My daughters, I tell them at 21, I think you should indulge if you have to. Before that, don't. I go through the necessary exercise of before you do that, you must make sure that you have a contraceptive. 2, the guys using a condom in terms of STIs, in terms of the other diseases and so forth. I talk to my daughters about, if I don't talk to them, who will? I'm the man. I'm the man. The mother cannot talk to my children about what a man can do. This man will tear the condom. And I tell them, buy your own condoms and give them the condoms if you're going to indulge, and let them use the condom you give them, not for you to use a condom that a man has given you. I know if the next thing you're pregnant and your life is gone. I am honest with my children. They understand that. They know that even if they're menstruating, I say, talk to me, your father. And when you need money, I'll give you the money to buy the sanitary wear. I talk to my children about that. I even go as far as saying, listen, just the fluids connecting, you can be pregnant. I tell them about that. So if no parent is spending time on that, then you're not parenting your child. That's why we've got early pregnancies happening with young children and so forth, because we think certain things are taboo. They're not taboo with me. My children ask me questions. Homosexuality, we talk about it. I said, listen, my children, if any of you guys biologically and through medical reports you are that way inclined, I'll accept you because that's how you're made. But if you're not, I will not.
I
know, but I'm not zero. But if you are, we even go talking about those issues at the end of the day. The report from the medical professions that this child, mkomana or mskana huyu, my hormones ake, they are male or they are female, biologically and medically, proven. Who am I? Chisikwa chamwari. I cannot say no. But kana uchida kuita nekutungo na kids aiwa. Aiwa chinja senem, chinja reses, chiza starako. And encourage.
One of the questions that people would want to ask you is concerning Coach Rugby. I know you're a rugby fanatic. You love it. Particularly mnema sports food as well. Muri part of my administrators in Chi. But I'm not forgot. You criticized too early the coach. But I was also about Buddhism tangible results. Do you think your criticism was warranted?
What tangible results is taking the whipping boys to the World Cup. Ngati bajira $100. Zimbabwe is setting world records ya kurowa ku World Cup. Nakuti mawina ma Africa, mnongati magona Africa. Africans don't know rugby, they know soccer. So where's rugby? Where are they in this?
South Africans got multiple title.
South Africa is different. Their culture is rugby. The Afrikaners' culture is rugby. That's why they were there. I'm the person who worked with Kennedy Temba. The beast, I taught him rugby, I introduced rugby at Prospect, Tondrai Chivanga, and all these great rugby players and so forth. So to me, the normal, easy, not expensive sport, soccer, where are we? Rugby becomes complex. It needs money. He knows the fluke. Nakuti rugby Kenya, itambe rugby Uganda, itambe rugby Zimbabwe. Within Africa has more rugby playing schools outside South Africa, outside, I'd say Namibia. Namibia, they can probably go past. The population in Namibia is much less than Zimbabwe. So I'd say just outside that thing. So all these other countries are not, they were not colonized by the British. At the same time, they then are not able to have rugby as a sport which they think is important and so forth. The only great thing about rugby, it's a character building sport. It's the only sport that you are physical with somebody, but you still have a good drink with them and you say, well done, we played a good game, you handshake. Rugby guys are gentlemen. Soccer guys are hooligans. Oh, sorry, no, I withdraw.
I very much believe that you are the rightful person who should talk about sporting activities. Amongst many as well.
I should be running sport in this country. Why do you want to shortcut?
That is what I wanted to say.
I should be running sport in this country.
End up you are married.
No, which sport have I not been involved in this country? I went and studied sport and so forth. But everything is its day.
But now, since you have the rightful person, and you actually said you should be the administrator, you must sport. imimi you withdrew from the Zifa chairmanship race. Mama share faith in yourself here?
No, it was a question of, it was corrupt. Today, what's happening with Zifa? At times, in the Urpa I'm very spiritual, but Zimangati Achisiana Nachochi. Chino Kanganisa.
Maybe you had faith in the.
No. It was going to tarnish my image. Because if I was going to go into sport, into soccer, it would be a radical change. It would be a radical change. Not easy. They've totally lost it. They have totally. They bring in foreigners. This is a black country. You bring a white man in a black country where there's traditionalism, there's Mbiane and so forth. This country is spiritual, and I'll tell you that, religiously and traditionally. And that you must understand. If you're not prepared to dance to the tune of those, you're gone. There's no leader. That's why the current president, whatever you try and do to him, nothing will happen to him, because he's ordained by God, first of all, to lead the country. Secondly, spiritually, traditionally, culturally, from a heritage point of view, he's also endorsed. So how do you fight him?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a very brief interview because Tukumanyisana Ningua Sabuk, the Honorable Sabuk, was holding another meeting here, which is very important in this community. So we had to wait. Kwamamuru constituents kwenyu, Kunoton, the former constituents, you gracefully lost to Ariko Ijeje. But you had developed a connection, I'm sure, near the community there. Are you still part of that development?
Not on Urungwe West. I had them at heart. When I go into something, I'm passionate. I'm passionate. When I decide and I agree with a woman, I want to have a child, I'm passionate about that child.
And not the woman?
No, the woman and I would have agreed about having a child. So we should shift our attention to the child and not us, so that you understand. Are you with me? You understand my English?
Mungo dribbler.
But nakupinza matea manchi. Nakupinza matea. Wangoda ndura nechirunga aiwa. Chiveti chinorowa. Aiwa. Takadza kumakope school tukaisus. Chinorowa panapa. Wangoda kevi yekona. Kuti ipinde ya chunge. But as we want and so forth. So to me, really, that's really what I more or less believe in at the end of the day. I'm passionate about what you do. I go into politics not to make money, but to say I'm serving people. I spend my money so that, I would spend $150,000 to $200,000 in Norton. Yet, as a member of parliament, I was paying $300. I was like, dino penga here.
Don't questioning around. What's in for you now?
Nothing. Is that I must also offer a service to my people. Just yesterday I was in Masvingo. I wanted to go and celebrate my Christmas and New Year, and I left a lot of money. I bought people drinks and so on. I said, I'm not flamboyant, but it's a black business. I just felt I would support this place. That's it. I have those kind of things. I smoke a cigar once a year when it's the New Year's, January and so forth, so that, I'm off to Spain tomorrow. For a holiday in Europe. For atizo rakidza kwatinenge tiri and so forth, but I think Europe pane chando apa ndimbo zorora and so forth. Wakambona Sabuka nendere kuthink Europe for a holiday.
Ndoshati manje vanhu kunoko vakasara vachita makuna vanoripota kunani?
Hapana makuna ndinenge ndiri kugwenga chaidzo kune kuti mishonga yese kana ndangobhururuka yatongo expire kuti uzondirova ikoko nemanhingi ocean ariko ikoko anenge achingodonha muocean asvike ikoko.
But men to men chakatango, this part of the interview momondozo honestly, you're off to Spain.
Yeah.
And it is
single. So
how do you make your money to afford that flamboyant lifestyle in a vacation at the overseas?
Let me tell you one thing. I worked in 2006, 2007. I controlled the tobacco in this country with a company called Salt Lakes. We were able to grow 10 to 11% of the total crop of tobacco. I was the biggest indigenous player ever. I made my money. I retired, I invested, and I invested in more kids. Because I wakuita wana 21 amai vasiri kuchema maintenance iri kubhadhara unenge wakasimba. Aiwa unenge wakasimba. Aiwa handidi kunyepa. Izvo ndozvibhiga izvo handenge ndakasimba. Aiwa ndikokuita murumeka.
Yes.
Vana mai vacho unochengeta. Vana mbuya vacho unochengeta. Vana unochengeta. Aiwa maropafadzo mabviravirai maropafadzo nekuti God wants you to look after the innocent. Never fight and allow a child to suffer. Atadzei mwana. Let me tell you one thing. For the first time, because you came to my village and this is spiritual, I've done DNAs to some of my children. For the first time, I'll say some of them are not mine, but I look
serious.
It's the most emotional part I have to tell you. And you are the first journalist I'm telling this to. I have tears, but I love the kids. I look after them because they're innocent. It is a hard one for me.
Do they know?
Yeah. No, they don't know, and they must not know.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope one or two you take one or two from that. Anyway, toda kuenda pa MP foot. You have got another constituency which is not on. But the constituency which was watching you on TV, on the Chitama Fieri debates in Parliament. Of course, I'm not going to these are just debates. They don't mean anything. But the atmosphere of voting, that culture of holding people accountable. Nyango pakasazobuda pama results. Inongoita kuti animunobata zvanotara. But yeah, they would love to see you in Parliament again.
No, I'm not going back to Parliament. I'm not a career politician. I'm a businessman. I have to work for my kids. You lose money being in Parliament. You're unappreciated. You have a country which is polarized, which when you tell the truth to them, because they want change too quickly in a radical way instead of the democratic way, they say a lot. I'm saddened about Zimbabweans with the level of intellect that they have. They think behave like people who never went to school, to be honest with you. They don't understand democracy. They don't understand democracy is for you to register and vote. They think that social media, the structure of politics, that's the reason why every leader has managed to rule this country for a long time. And ED, being a lawyer, knows that social media is misleading them, misguiding them. So he has no time to think about that. What does he do? He goes to the rural constituency, gives presidential inputs, does A, B, C, D, and so forth. You know, when there's no batika, politics, yes, Zimbabwe, kubatika, mota zeza, munoona so zichipiwa vanwe Central Committee. Central Committee is the principal organ of the party. So if you have given them cars, you must know that they support you. At the same time, if you say they must not have cars, they will not support you and so forth. And I think this is where, unfortunately, you know, those aspiring, are failing because you cannot in politics say usapiwe chinu nemuno usina alternative ya urukupa. You can't. Are you with me? You can't, because that just shows that you are very immature in terms of politics, and so they go to another kujiga. And the difference with all these political parties is big. The ruling party will always have more money in your ruling party. And again, you must support the ruling party to make money. Are you with me? And you must work with the government of the day. As a village head, I'm very clear about that. But most people are not clear about that. Iwewe, ndikakuti hande, ndinokupa stand hiyo. Vanhu vakapusa vari polarized vanoti handidi unotora ndechezanu-PF. But basa rezanu-PF is to give land to you so that you can build. You don't see that. How many people have not benefited from the land reform? Vachitaura kuti izvi ndezvezanu-PF, ndezvechi. But ZANU-PF can yapinda in power like any other party. Their role is to ensure that they empower you. The agrarian reform program was about empowering people. But today, the very same people who are saying no, and dipinde vakutsvaga minda, ndo vanoya kwatiri masabu, kwachida masabu, deals, and so katiko iwe ngoe minda, jambanja, wanga uri kupi. Indakapinda mjere ka 30 days na washana kune jambanja, nchitora price. My farm is 805 hectares, 99 year lease. Look at the value of it now. yet wainzi enda unotora and so forth. Ndotadza kunotora. Babangu akanditi zvemasports zvako izvi hapana zvazvinounza mari munomu. Enda unoinveda farm, because I went to the struggle, I liberated this country. Ndoda kukuverenga ma-headlines kuti waenda kunoinveda ma-farms. Ango yanga iri mabviravira. Ndakaita chimwe chivindi. Ndakanotora ma-farm 5. 5 ma-farm.
Apa wedra mashansiro kuti kuinveda manje.
I mean, do you know how old I was?
Yes, how old?
I was 26 years old. So I want to ask you a question. At 26 years old, how many have got farms which are 805 hectares?
That's
one thing that you can't also take away from the late president, Robert Gabriel Mugabe, was his policy of empowerment and empowering his people through land. Indigenization, kwakaita makonyera. Vanga kuba corruption, but he wanted his people to be empowered. I believe Mugabe was not about money. It was about empowerment and so forth. And what the current president has done is to take it to another level. The road, the infrastructure that is happening and so forth is also critical, because you cannot be in a country, it's not infrastructure, it's not road network. Are you with me? Because road network, parazarese. So to me, it is a combination of one who's a communist and ED coming in who's a capitalist, because you can't rely on communism all your life. Capitalism has got to come in, because each one person, you know what ED says? Let's make money. One of the things which somebody told me, he said, I went to see ED and I was complaining about somebody making money, and ED asked him, but Iwewe, have you ever come to me in a project? No, sons, why are you talking about somebody else? And I owns a project. Or not. I said what? So to go project
like this is very rare, and sometimes very inconsistent with the character of an opposition figure. One of what you are doing is is bidding. Manje tokuonere muchijoina affiliate unonzi tennis for ED.
No, ndini president wemasabhuku esenyika. Why should I be part of an affiliate? And masabhuku ese vanosapota musangano unotonga, ndiko kwatinohoraka.
Saka mukusapota musangano unotonga.
Hatingaregere kuita izvozvo. Kana ZANU-PF ikati 2030 pamberi nayo.
So munosarira muchiri independent, just an independent politician or independent sabhuku or an independent Mliswa.
Independent is independent thinking. Nekuti kana asvika nguva yekudya hapana independence, unotomboenda uku. Nekuti iwe vanotambura nekuti uda kufadza vanhu. Aiwa mufadzi hanzi wewawa. Mufadza mutengo wewanga. Aiwa iwe ndine vana vese vashama vanofana kuenda kuchikoro. Zvinotaura vanhu izvo angavataure. Ini vana vangu vakaguta aenda kuchikoro. Iye zvana kana problem yeschool fees ndakagara pana pamusha. Iye zvese vari kutuduri mutano ngokumbira mari kutonyepota mwana mbuya wangu ari kurwara. Ichi mwana wangu arwara. Kuti ade school fees inini hapana. 1 year ndabhadhara in advance. I pay a year in advance for all my kids.
Well, I see.
A year in advance for all my kids.
And how much can that be approximately?
One thing I'll never talk about is the number of cattle I have and the amount of money I have in the bank and what I pay. That I will not. That's my father told me that.
But you leave room for speculations and because of mama figure kuti
aiwa unozo ndikataura mari idzo vakadzi vakandooneka kuti vada vana nene ii anchada anokoti kuti unondipinza pabasa
maneta
aiwa pane pambo unofana kugumaka havadyiwe kavana unoya wakati aiwa izvo zvakandona bhuru chivakwana here. But though there are those, because kune munhu akataura kuti but iwe vakauyawo nemagenuine reasons zvikanzi but bhuru kumatabulenda hauna mwana, kuningira hauna mwana, wadini kuita mwana maprovince ese usati wapinda musadhak. Nekuti musadhak ndakapinda kaBotswana ndirimo, South Africa ndirimo, Zimbabwe ndirimo, Zambia ndirimo. Zvikanzi wakadini kurwa maprovince ese first kati ana kuzvifunga but aiwa zviripo zvakwana.
I think now it's dawning on me kuti kunzi bhuru, is it because makasimba muviri here kana kuti you are made for breeding?
Iwewe uchindiona unondisa papi? Totangira ipapa.
Andingatobvunza madzimai nandoona muvarume.
Aiwa, there's no point kubvunza madzimai. Ningikiri vana varipo kandiyo ka-evidence. Unokubvunzire chi madzimai vana varipo. Iwe uri pauri papo kuona uwandu wevana vangu nezvandiri. Kana uda undiremekedza unonditi chi?
Ndinonga kuti baba vemarudzi Abraham, Jacobo.
Aiwa ka, buruka rinopinda mudanga karoita basa. Handizvere. Ko basa handina kuita here.
Atobvunza madzimai. Madzimai, bhuru rakaita basa rei?
Omonoti bhuru kushanda ndiri MP ndaishanda ndaita mushe chichi takazota bhuru pazvese zvese. Yeah, takazoti bhuru pazvese zvese nekuti kubasa I work hard for my kids. When I deliver as a legislator, I do very well and so forth and all that. So even some of the organizations that have set up, Zimbabwe Economic Empowerment Council, kudara yangaina comrade kagoroma over veterans, chida kuti TSA Community Council, tine Students Council, and I'm telling so, angavaripo and so forth. Tavakure nezvo zvakawanda izvo. We are quite seasoned. Ndosa anjiti vafana veZANU-PF ava. Chero vana Tino Machakaira havasizi havana zera redu kuZANU-PF. Ende tikada kuapa mayouth chaiwo. Aiwa, sitaiziva mayouth kuti kana mukuru wenyika atakwa neWomen's League, you must stand up. Haungaswere uchiti babako achatakwa iwe uri mwana uchiita ningiri. Ini ndakamboenda ndonga ndandiri form 2. Mudhara wanga imwa pazindoga baba. Saka amwa pazindoga ku aimwa nemudhara aitishandira ainzi Vapiri the late, may his soul rest in peace Vapiri. Vaiwirana, my father would go and drink with mushandi wao. Pira manya kumba kuti mudhara atanga ondoko. Andakavhara bhawa ndakada kutaura chiwedi zvotanga na kuti ndikasvika ndika vanhu but aiwa handichataura. Ndakavakiya madhara imomo kuti munorova mudhara wangu iwe. Munorova mudhara wangu. Ipapa mudhara wangu aipiwa hwa mahara after that. Aipiwa mudhara wangu kuti mukasandipa hwa mufana wangu anouya padapo.
Yes.
Yeah, fair. And I loved my father. He was a liberal man. I was a liberal man. He was a man of the people. Allowed us to do what we wanted and so forth. I had a mother who was a nurse of many years, over 40 years, was acting matron Paranyato at the time and so forth. So we grew up with good. But you know, zachimwe chinuka chandinoonetswa nevanhu. Undibvunza asi nechivanhu here une munyama. Ndikati munyama wi. Zvikanzi vana vese ava. Ndikati let me tell you, my father was married to one wife, 6 kids.
Okay.
My brother is married to one wife, 2 kids. My other brother again is married. He was married, but he's got 4 kids. So it's a choice. Azvisi zvedzinza. Nekuti munozoti munyama chichi vanhu vatema notsvaga mari kaenda kumapostori unonamatirwa. Mapostori ndikatoenda ikoko ndinobva ikoko vatondinamatira ndite vana times 2 ndosaka ndisingadi kuenda. Handidi kuenda.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be the last question that we are going to have for Buru. Buru Chairo. Before we leave. You have been trending for this last quarter of the year over Nyanze. Some politicians are giving you money so that you can do some bidding on their behalf or attack a politician online or on social media. Mobiwa mari pane audio ari kulika tinanzwa kuti voice rinenge rabhurira but imova mabuda moti this is AI what.
So let me tell you one thing. If you understand me, and this is the truth about me, I'm not a person who records anybody. I've never. I send voice note for security reasons. They can be leaked. That's okay. Are you with me? And it's the word. What is leaking? What is leaking? Unoona kuti semantics yevamwe vacho vanonyora zvinhu vana lini kuona kuti chikoro chacho ndechehunesi chete, hapana zvimwe zvinopfuura ipapo. Leaking anoita mbiri yekuti leaking inini
leaking manje mtu amakurita leaking manje arasviba zita,
but inzo ukataura
it
kuti
leaked.
aiwa vanochera kuti leaked, uno leak chii chauno
Sachanze leak.
inzwaka
Sachanze leaked.
leaked. Saka what would I leak? And what are you leaking about when I'm a straight jacketed zvandiri izvo zvandiri kutaura zvese zvozo tora video zoti leaked Mliswa talks about this and that. I'm an open book. I don't have to, what you call it, are you with me? That's why I prefer voice I understand and all that. I don't have time for that. Why should I lie? Zvandataura and repeater kwati izvi ndakaita, but you could see that I was croning. Zvandakati my way pandakaona picture yaTAGWIREI achindihaga sasekuru wake kudai ndikati maiwe inini angu vanhu vakabhoikana vakati chakudya mari chapiwa mari. I've known Kuda for a long time. I've known a lot of businessmen who are not mentioned. I've been a consultant for them in a lot of things that they've done to be billionaires, to be rich. I've consulted a lot of, one of them who I was saying, Billy Rottenberg. For him to get Chisumbanje, it was me. For him to get Hoange Call, it was me. For him to get Total Mind, the platinum, it was me. I was supposed to get 10% out of that as a consultant. All those assets were about $4 billion. So nika kuda 10% owns ndakuenda kunoita extortion. They understand consultancy. Indino dila nao na nemari. Iwa jaro consulta wakumana ntengesa fojika mtaundi ota ozo tina o 10% yache $1 ina ndi direzo ndine grade rangu randinoti i consultants ndakuita yanchaita and so forth. I was gifted nepfungwa na Mwari, and it is that and you can't take it away from me. I strategize for politicians to win. They come to me outside Zimbabwe. I will not tell you who. Confidentiality, I can't. I've made presidents win elections outside Zimbabwe. I've made MPs win elections and so forth. I've made MPs in Zimbabwe win provincial chairpersons of provinces. I've made MPs win to be members of parliament and so forth. It's a consultancy thing. Okay, I was born with that brilliance, with that intelligence. I'm a coach, I'm a strategist. So what is it that I cannot do for somebody to win? So you answer extortion, this and that. Pamushapana ndakapa vakarini ngati mbona izvi toona kuti zviganandere zvakaisa mari apa kuti makore mangani. This has been here for what? Over 6 to 10 years. So 10 years akandipa mari kuti ndivake panapa ndiani. My children know where I get my money, how I make my money. I told you that in 2006, 2007, I made a lot of money from tobacco. I will never tell you the amount of money I invested the money and so forth. There is a return I get from my money every month from people I invested money, which is sufficient for me to look after myself, to do well, to go on holiday and so forth. I'm not one who believes in talking about figures. Have you ever seen me showing the cars I drive? Have you ever seen me showing you where I live? I invited you to come and I allowed you to take this village. If this village does not give you a sense of understanding who I am and how comfortable I am in life, then too bad.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Sabuk. Honorable boss Mudzoki. This has been Sabugo, Temba, Peter, Mliswa, Shumba Mrambwe. Thank you for your time.
You know, you are the only journalist that I said something that I'd never say to the world about my kids. It's gonna go public. It's gonna go thing. The kids are gonna look at it. They're gonna be asking themselves, is it me who's not the child to this man or what? But to all my children, I love you. No matter what, I love you. It's been the most difficult part, but I said it to you because you came to my village. And all I say to the men out there, go for the DNAs. It's necessary.
Thank you. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, by interview yedu yatukita na Honorable Mliswa, there is an event yema chief, and my chief ane a caliber or a type of performance that they need. Ngoya na hoi hoi. Kuno ya wano wagadanwa kuzoimbira mazimambo. And today we have got none other than
Rose Wembira.
Rose Wembira. I think the surname itself, it speaks for itself. Rose Wembira, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, beautiful, not good.
Thank you.
So, Banabatulango Rose, one or two things before she showcases her talent to us. Who is Rose?
Ndinonzi Rose Joe, ndinobva kuMasvingo, but now I'm based in Gweru. I'm a performer. I play mbira. I compose songs, and I sing. It's my passion.
Unonyanyoimbira kumavenue happy because you get what I mean.
Ndowanzoimbira kuma corporate functions, ndowanzoimbira kuma events, ne kuma meetings akaita seyatinayo pazuva ranhasi.
Usati washowcase your talent here, probably some of the people who are watching vanogona kuzoda kuzokudana.
Okay.
Professionally, how do they book you? Because ukangobudisa numbers which you why toswera takutext.
All right. So for now, we have a TikTok page, Rakanzi Rose Wembira. They can find also our contact there.
Our contact.
Yes.
So just one beautiful piece usuri kudistract our interview ya Honorable Chimbongo Troera.
All right.
Kana makuda vanhu full performance munoya mubhukani mwanasikana music iyi vanhu yakachena here because vanhupo vanotya zvinhu zvinoita nembira chichichi.
Yakachena zvekuti. Yakachena. It's traditional music. This is our music from Zimbabwe. You know, to identify is when we are out there. So yakachena music yedu, and we should be proud of it. Yes.
Where do you think it is stereotype you inova kupa? And you're a student from music?
Yes, I'm a student.
From where?
I'm a student of music who MSU Gweru. And I think music, yes, vanonongoitora kunge zvakasviba zvechivanhu zvechi, but this is where we come from. This is our tradition. We are Zimbabweans, so we have to be proud of who we are.
Thank you so much. Mainzwaka music iyi ndio inoteerwa nesu isusu madzimambo kana uchida kuenda kuma higher heights. Your last words?
My last words is I would like to just encourage people out there, because a lot of people ignore this type of music, and this is us. This is our identity. So let's be proud of it. Ngatiteererei mbira, ngatidzidzisei vana vazive music yedu, vazive kwatinobva.
To music is a journalist pakuti kune majournalist anonokupfekedzwa makepu.
Yes.
You are a self-made journalist.
Self-made.
My self-declaration.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Self-made.
Yes.
You are a self-made.
Yes.
Self-made.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
You are a self-made journalist.
Self-made.